From KVOA, we've got you covered. This is News 4 Tucson.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of Arizona baseball. I'm David Kelly. The Wildcats at the College World Series for the 18th time, set to play Vanderbilt in their opener. Let's talk some Wildcat baseball. Pleased to be joined by Brian Pederson of AZ Desert Swarm, who is in Omaha covering the Cats. And Brian, set the scene for us from Omaha.
Well, other than a lot of humidity and today a lot of gray skies, I'm seeing a lot of people out here. I've seen Arizona fans, seen fans from all 8 teams so far. You can definitely tell that out here in Omaha, they live for this event.
All right, let's dive into this matchup real quick. First and foremost, my philosophy in terms of baseball is that great pitching is always going to trump great hitting. And that's what you've got in this first game, with arguably the best offense in the game in Arizona against the best starting pitcher in college baseball in Kumar Rocker. I would think that Rocker has the advantage as long as he's on his game. Brian, how do you see it?
And I would agree with that. And the key there is on his game and being able to stick to his plan. Arizona's going to stick to their plan. What they've been doing all year with the best starters they've faced is making them work, throwing a lot of pitches. Even last week when they lost to Ole Miss and they were facing Doug Nikhazy, a great lefty for the Rebels, he threw 54 pitches in the first 2 innings. They made him work. They took a lot of pitches, worked those counts. And I don't know if Rocker has faced someone like that, a team that is going to make him work. He gets a lot of 3-pitch outs. He gets a lot of guys that will try to go after the first good pitch they see because they know that once it gets deeper in the count, he may have the advantage. And when it gets to 2 strikes at least, Arizona's not that way. They'll go 4, 5, 6 pitches on every at bat the first time through the order so that they can see what is offered. They can allow the batters behind them in the lineup to get more idea of the pitches, to throw that pitcher off his game. He's used to throwing 10, 15, maybe 20 pitches an inning. If he's got to throw 25 or 30 in the first inning, then he's got a concern about fatigue and how long he can go for. And as good as he is, there is still, once he's out of the game, who do they go to? Vanderbilt has 2 really good relievers on the back end, but in the middle relief is where they could really be taken advantage of. And that's where Arizona tends to go after people.
All right, Brian, I want to talk about Daniel Susac, the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. He batted .344 during the regular season, but he struggled to find his stroke here in the postseason. Just 4 for 22 and only 1 extra base hit. This kid has caught a lot of games, and you've got to wonder if this long season is starting to wear on him. Do the Wildcats need the Daniel Susac that they saw in the regular season in order to play deep into this World Series?
If this wasn't a lineup with 9 guys hitting 300, I'd say so, but they've had other guys have slumps during the season, and it hasn't really mattered. Brandon Bossier, who's back up leading the team now at over 370, he had a stretch about 5 or 6 games, actually more than that, where he had only maybe 3 or 4 hits. But he had some good outs in there. He grounded out to get some guys home, drove in some people, moved some people around, and then came out of it. They have that luxury to have somebody that is having a slump. They moved Susac down in the lineup on the past game on Sunday to 6th or 7th, moved Tony Bullard up in the lineup. I could see that happening. Jay Johnson's going to craft the lineup so that there are no weak spots. If he thinks somebody is struggling, he's going to make sure the person in front of them and behind them are hot so that you can't find a place to get for Rocker or any of Vanderbilt's pitchers to get into a groove.
Now, in terms of the pitching side for Arizona, I think we could see a lot of games like what we saw last Sunday against Ole Miss, just based on the struggles that we've seen with starters Chase Silseth and Garrett Irvin. I think we could see a lot of those piecemeal type of games where Jay Johnson and Nate Yeskie use guys for 2 and 3 innings. And with the World Series format not having to play games on consecutive days, that actually could play to U of A's advantage.
Certainly. That Arizona has the luxury with their bullpen, and particularly with guys who can go long, not just 2, 3 batters or 1 inning at a time, but guys who can go 2, 3, 4, even 5 or more innings because they've started at time and they're stretched out, that he's not worried about his starter getting bumped in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th inning. That's happened during regionals. It happened during the regular season. And someone can come in and almost be like a second starter. And then as they get to the point where then they can just keep changing pitchers, none of the batters can get comfortable because no batter may see anybody more than twice tops in any of these games. And so that really does put the advantage on the pitcher if their stuff is fresh to the batter.
Brian, this is obviously a ballpark that traditionally plays to teams that can defend well. We saw that back in 2012 with the Wildcats winning the national championship and that great defensive team. Now, do you think, though, that the fact that this is not the best defensive team that we've seen in Arizona, could that be a liability for them this week?
A little bit, potentially. The infield is where they've had most of the issues. Up the middle, they've made some mistakes, but the outfield is very strong. And with a big outfield like this, I don't see Arizona having any mistakes on that end. Their errors seem to come in bunches, but they only had one error during the super regionals, which were high octane, high leverage games. So it comes and goes, and you never really know. They got a chance to be out on the field today. I think this infield's a little softer than it is in Tucson, so that might play to their advantage if the ball doesn't get to you as quickly. So they've had a chance to work on it, but it all comes down to nerves and how things are going in the heat of the moment.
All right, what's the over-under on how many Omaha steaks Brian Pederson is going to eat if he has to stay at the World Series for 2 weeks?
Oh, gosh. Well, I don't know about the steaks, but I keep hearing about something on the Iowa side called a beef Sunday that I need to check out. So I know I'm going to need to refocus my diet after this trip for certain.
And Brian, I know you've been very public about your career as an Uber driver. Will you do that in Omaha? Can you do that in Omaha?
I wish I could. No, you're only allowed to in whatever market you're in. But I would definitely take advantage of that if that were here, because there are a lot of people. I was actually I was at a casino last night and heard some people ordering their Uber and how long it was, and I'm instantly thinking like, oh, I could take you. Oh wait, no, I can't. But I'm kind of glad to not have to do it for a little while, just so that I can enjoy myself.
All right, well, Brian, enjoy the games in Omaha. Hopefully we can check back in with you over what we hope will be a long stay for the Wildcats.
Thanks for having me.
Brian Pederson from AZDesertSwarm.com, our guest. Stay with us here at News 4 Tucson for continuing coverage of the Arizona Wildcats at the College World Series.